What's up, dude? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's case is going to be a little bit on the frustrating side, but that's all I'm gonna give you, so let's just get into it. Rita Curran was a 24-year-old second grade teacher in 1971 in Burlington, Vermont. That summer, she had just moved out of her parents' home and was moving into a house with roommates, but she didn't know them too well. Keep in mind, for this time, this was 1971, so I don't really think that that's super odd. In the probably 90s or so, I had aunts that would go out to the East Coast. Yeah, East Coast. And they would respond to ads for families that needed nannies, and they would go be a live-in nanny, or some of my aunts would live in town with other people, families that lived in town, and they would be a live-in nanny, and they would just kind of do chores for a family, and they would work for their room and board. So for 1970, this being the case of not really knowing your roommates, I don't think it's super weird. I think that just you found people to live with and you're like, great, let's just live together, it'll make rent cheaper and everything like that. So that's why I don't think that this is super weird. By today's standards, very weird. But for 1971, not really, honestly. Rita was spending her summer working as a maid at a local hotel and taking graduate courses at the University of Vermont. However, around midnight on July 19th, Rita was murdered by strangulation as well as being beaten and sexually assaulted. Since her murder, police have investigated hundreds of tips related to her case in the past 50 years. However, none of them really led to anything. In 2019, the case was brought up again when the Burlington Police Department started to look back on the case, but in greater detail. This time, the whole detective team was involved in on the case versus just, say, one detective from the department. Back at the time of this case happening, when Rita was murdered, Ted Bundy was actually a suspect early on. He was thought to be in the area during the summer that Rita was murdered, and she was a young woman that would have fit his MO, so she kind of looked like some of his other victims, so that's why they really thought that there was a chance that it could have been him. However, Bundy was ruled out in 1989 when investigators questioned him right before his execution. He said that he wasn't in the Vermont area at the time of Rita's murder. So, honestly, I kind of feel like dude was going to be executed. If he did it, I think he really would have admitted to it anyways, Investigators have said that they've solved the case, as of, literally, news stories are coming out about this, within the last I checked, there was a story as new as, 28 minutes ago, that they've solved this case and they fully know what happened or just at least who did it. So that's amazing in and of itself. This happened in 71. It's 2023. Come on. It's amazing. However, they aren't going to release details until next week at a news conference. So, yeah, that's where the frustrating part of this case comes in. All they've revealed is that DNA evidence has helped crack the case. The DNA that was taken from the crime scene was kept all through the decades where they were investigating this case, all through the decades where Rita was murdered and they didn't know what happened. From 1971 to 2023, they kept the DNA, which is so smart. And there's actually a lot of cases where police will get rid of the DNA and won't use it, or they'll just be it happened so long ago, or they'll misplace it, which is really, okay, cases that happen in the 70s, 80s, stuff like that, I can kind of see how that actually could be the case. I misplace pretty much everything in my life, so I understand how that could be the case, but I think now, thankfully, we've become a lot more cautious with evidence, and people know not to touch items at a crime scene, and we're just a little bit more knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. So the fact that they still had the DNA evidence from 1971 seriously is pretty amazing, and I am very curious to see what happened or who it was, or if it was a serial killer that they've this guy was connected, or a woman were connected to the case from this span of years. And I don't know, very curious to see what happens, and if you guys want me to cover the update that happens next week, definitely leave it in the comments down below. I am going to be doing a video where I start updating you on cases that I did when I started doing true crime stuff, which was like almost probably, it was in August actually, I think, when I started doing true crime stories. So I'm going to start going back and like maybe doing updates on cases that have updates. So this will probably be one of them that I do next week and let you guys know what happens. But that is it for me today. I hope that you guys found this video interesting. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel if you feel like it. If not, totally cool. Thanks for joining me with this video. And for those of you that will be back tomorrow, I will have another video up and ready for you guys bright and early at 7 a.m. So I will see you guys then. Bye, guys.